Hello, welcome to the return interview sessions. Today I got a lovely guest and director Colette Batten-Turner, if I pronounced it correctly.
Yes, correctly. Thank you.
Very nice. We have her here because she has an awesome film at our festival called Prisoner of Hope, a documentary. And we would like maybe you introduce yourself again and maybe tell us a bit about the film.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Christian. My name's Colette Batten-Turner. I'm the director of Prison of Hope and the founder of Conversation Over Borders, which is a UK-based nonprofit working with refugees and asylum seekers across the UK. And it was working with our community that we began to develop Prisoner of Hope, and it was created along with the people that participated and contributed their stories to the film. The story is three journeys through displacement to the UK from three people from three different backgrounds, countries with very different experiences. And it's a story of displacement and hope and what happens next after people arrive in the UK.
Yeah, I have to say I found the film quite moving and I find it very intimate how you shot the film. Like I found it very somber tone, nice music, and I was really drawn in, and I found it very unjudgmental. Like it was really like recall of their ideas, their experiences, and what their hopes are. And how did you find the protagonists, Paul, Nima, and Kachodi?
So the protagonists, the people that contributed their stories to the film, are all people that I have known and worked with personally for many years. So up to kind of 6 years of knowing and really seeing some of the stories develop as people's lives in the UK developed as they gained status or didn't gain refugee status. And as they, applied for their families to join them here and the process that was for them. um, I think I'm really glad that you picked up on it being quite an intimate documentary, because I think really the trust and the relationships that have been built over the last 4, 5, 6 years are what allowed those kind of more intimate conversations to take place. Um, Again, because they're people that I've known really closely through the work that we do more broadly at Conversation Over Borders, and Refugee Radio, who are the partner organisation on this project. And that work spans from English language classes to befriending to mental health support. So the people that participated in this film have all been a part of that organisation, have all accessed other support with us. And that meant that we knew them very well before they decided to come and tell their stories in this film.
Yeah, and I felt it during the watching. Like there was a lot of trust. I thought, and also like the camera was very quiet, nothing flashy. Like you really sit there and listen to them. And yeah, how long did you? How long was this process? Like the process of filming and cutting and.
It was very long. It was a 15-month process, start to finish. And in part, that was because of having like an extensive pre-production period of really working with the people that participated their stories, and ensuring that they could guide where the conversation went, basically. Because I think working with anyone in this field, but particularly working with people who have experienced differing levels of trauma, it was really important to us that these stories were participant guided and that they were able to say what they thought was important, but also that we weren't kind of asking things of them that could potentially be triggering or could be bad for their mental health. So it was a long production process, and a lot of it also was done in evenings and weekends. We had an incredible team working on this, and everyone really like put in the hours outside of work, because all of us do other things. I'm also leading the charity that this was produced by, and everyone else has other things that they're doing as well. So it was a real labor of love.
Yeah, I think you can feel it, and I also found especially the. Although I don't want to give away something, but there's some pleas in the film, like which regarding just like just make basic human rights a thing, which is often like treated so badly. And I found it's quite a moving message, and but without any force. I didn't feel any force in this film. You just came to understand it as a human being on the same level, and that was so cool. And the different aspects, which would lead me to my other question. We saw 3 individuals in the film, and everybody has their own idea. We had like somebody said art is freedom, then like to live independently is freedom, and then freedom is just like not to get like treated like animal or like get killed, something. What do you think is freedom for you?
For me, I think freedom is choice, but it's the ability to go beyond choice. So I think what's mirrored in this film is that people have made the choice to come to this country to seek safety and to seek a better lives for themselves and their families. But it's more than just that move. It's everything that happens beyond that, and the way that actually, even once you reach your destination, that isn't the end of the story. That isn't when you're free, because freedom is your right to choose to be with your family, to be independent, to have a job, all of those things that sometimes we take for granted. I think that's what freedom is to me, and I hope that that's something that people take from this film.
Yeah, I hope that too. And one question, like you mentioned your foundation and everything, and in the film it is mentioned quite like explicitly, like the history of the UK as a colonizer. Do you think needs to be special attention to that from the UK standpoint?
Oh, absolutely. I think especially at this present moment in time, when the UK is raising its borders more than ever before, it's
Yeah, we
really,
lost
really
you.
important. Oh, can you hear me?
No. I mean, we lost
no.
the UK to Europe.
Yeah, well, yes, and even now. So, yeah, we were lost to the EU, and even now, very recently, there's been a piece of legislation that's come out, which is the most anti-migrant legislation in the UK's history, and is basically closing the borders to anyone that's seeking safety at our shores. And I think with these really like divisive rhetorics happening in the UK right now, it's really so important that we don't lose that historical sight of the fact that many of these conflicts that people are fleeing to safety from are like kind of predated by a history of colonialism that's created instability and conflict and different like ethnic divides as well in many of the countries that people are coming to seek safety with us from. And even, in Paul's story, Paul speaks English because Uganda was colonized by the British, like that's why he's communicating in that language in the first instance. And of course, this makes sense for him to seek safety here now that he can no longer be there. So yeah, it's a really important topic, not for us to lose sight of, but for us to keep remembering and bringing actively forward in our kind of movement to try and redress some of the balance, but also to accept and welcome people who are coming to us from other places.
Yeah, we have a similar situation in Germany here. Also, we see the rise of different like nationalist movements, and like I think shutting us in doesn't help anybody. And and I hope with films like that, and I hope with more attention everywhere, that we finally get some thinking going. But it's still terrible that you see the history repeat itself so often. And but we're full of hope. We are and I want to thank you again for the film. It's a lovely film, and everybody can see that film at our festival at the 28th of October in Block 5. Would be lovely. Everybody can see it, and that we just listen to each other as human beings. And thank you very much.
Take a message from hope for it as well. That's our main thing that we want people to take, is that there is always hope.
Yes. Thank you very much, and I hope to see us at the festival.
Yes, thank you, Christian. Bye.